Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, carrying on our little talk about early days in Malaysia. So going back to the first rented centre that we had, just up from PJ Old Town, from the market in PJ Old Town. That's where we began the process of registering the society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We needed to register an official branch. So Ram Sharan Prabhu, he started that arduous task of getting all the official side of it done. And you know, anything official that needs to be done takes time, takes patience, takes determination. So he began the process there. And then soon, I'm not sure how long, but then we moved to the place near to the Asunta Hospital in PJ Newtown. So bit more upmarket place, a lot more suitable for our programs. Remember the first week we were there, the first Sunday program that we had, we wanted to make it, exciting and enlivening for everyone. So we put on a drama. I believe it was not the Boatman and the Scholar. No, Genie in the Bottle. We quite often used to do dramas, Ramshaw and myself. We used to do them in Manor, Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, UK. And we carried on that tradition in Malaysia as well, and they were very popular, and they were a good way of getting the philosophy over, getting the wonderful philosophy of Krishna consciousness over in a fun, exciting way that engaged other people in acting in the play or just to watch it. So we did a drama that first week, that first Sunday, and it went down really well. It's a nice story, The Genie in the Bottle. And at the end of the drama, everyone was so fired up and ecstatic that they all got up and started jumping and dancing. And that was quite a great breakthrough in Malaysia. Okay, as I said before, in PJ Old Town, the children, the local children had come and got really fired up, and they were chanting and dancing ecstatically. But the elders were very much in the mood of awe and reverence. You go to the temple, you stand there, you pray, your hands folded, very reverential. But of course, Krishna consciousness is very joyful, very joyfully performed, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So after the drama at the end, everyone's standing up and sidestepping, Swami step, chanting Hare Krishna, and it was a very beautiful mood, yeah. So we had some really good times there at that first centre, at the second centre the house we rented. It had a good sized hall, as we call it, and we had small deities. It wasn't long before we had small deities. Rajendra Kumar Brahmachari, as he was then, from Malaysia, but had been living in London and became a devotee while he was there. So he came back to Malaysia and he joined with us and was a big asset, of course, to practicing Krishna consciousness, very fixed up in Krishna consciousness himself, a very staunch brahmachari, and later went on to become Bhakti Rajendra Swami, as many of you will know and respect a great deal. So he brought Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra Devi, little deities. They were only about probably 4 or 5 inches tall, and we established them on the altar, but in a very simple form of worship. We had so many other tasks to do, so we didn't want to take on too much, but we did have, the Mangalarti, Tulsi Puja, Japa, Guru Puja, Srimad Bhagavatam class, that went on. And it's so important that we follow the process that Srila Prabhupada gave us, is giving to us. If we follow that formula, he said the ISKCON sandwich, where in the morning we study Srimad Bhagavatam. In the evening, we study Bhagavad Gita. Then you go about and do your duties, whatever has to be done in the day. But if we have that ISKCON sandwich, then we can stay strong and fixed up in our Krishna consciousness. Everything will be so much easier. And as we saw, as I said before, we had no personal qualification. We didn't have any experience in running and managing a center, but we just simply tried to please our spiritual master, tried to follow his instructions, tried to practice and teach the local devotees what we had learnt during our stay at Bhaktivedanta Manor, like that. So evening we'd carry on doing book distribution. Quite a lot of people started coming, being regular members and assisting us in the preaching work. I remember Ravi Lochan, he would take Ram Sharan, and myself sometimes I would also go out to his friends and contacts and family members, and would take books along, or he'd talk to them about membership program, and generally talk about the whole aspect of Krishna consciousness and what it means and how to follow, how to practice. So Vijendra Kumar came and joined us, and it wasn't long before we got a car. And he used to travel outstation and go and meet his family and friends and contacts, and different contacts we made, and enroll life members or other members, or show them how to practice Krishna consciousness at home. And we found that the Malaysian devotees, the Malaysian population, were very interested and very eager to learn about the tenets of Krishna consciousness. As Srila Prabhupada has said to us, we simply have to repeat what we've learned. Don't try and add anything else. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Prabhupada's given us everything. He's given us a complete process. We simply have to follow it, and success is guaranteed. And even if we're not successful, seemingly on the outside, materially, it might not seem very successful, but we have to carry on. There were stories about Srila Prabhupada in the early days when he was preaching in America, and devotees would arrange different programs for him. So sometimes not many people turned up from those programs. Sometimes hundreds and thousands of people turned up, but sometimes not many people. And devotees would be upset and a little bit discouraged, but Prabhupada said, no, we preach to the walls. He said once he preached in a garage, it doesn't matter, we just give out this message. We don't be attached to success and failure, but we just try to serve our spiritual master, and ultimately Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and ultimately Shri Radha and Krishna. Okay. So it wasn't long before, so people started joining, young men started wanting to become brahmacharis and stay in the temple. And it wasn't long before we had two very active Sankirtan parties going out all week, coming back at the weekend for the Sunday feast, and travelling all over the country and distributing books and generally sharing their knowledge of Krishna consciousness. It was very exciting times. A lot of people joined at that time. I remember Ram Sharan, he was the temple president, and he was the main preacher, and he would give a lot of the lectures till other people were coming up to the stage where they could. And my main duties were just serving and assisting in the best way that I could, which is cooking, cleaning, deity worship, keeping the home fires burning, keeping everything going. We had a nice compound in this house near the Asunda Hospital, and there was a beautiful tree there. It was frangipani tree, and we used to pick the flowers from that and make flower garlands and offer to the deities. And I think it was Tyaga Chaitanya Prabhu and his wife. At one point they used to bring these beautiful flowers, little parijata flowers, very, very sweet white flowers with an orange stem, and they were lovely to offer to our Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. As you can see, I also have Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra in the background there. So that's my little home altar, simple home altar now. We had 2 Sankirtan parties of brahmacharis going out regularly. So by that time we'd not only had a car, but we also had 2 vans. And all this was funded by book distribution of one kind or another. And donations, kind donations from local devotees, you know. We kept the whole thing ticking over very nicely. And we used to try and have nice Sunday feasts, ISKCON style Sunday feasts. And in the beginning, I remember when we didn't have many people there, I would walk down to the market, PJ Old Town Market, buy the boga, come back, cook and prepare the Sunday feast, and then serve the Sunday feast, and then clear up afterwards. You know, you just have to do whatever needs to be done, and take that position of a humble servant, and surely get the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.